What are the main issues you would think a commission like this would be looking at?
Well, we obviously, I think we're very ill prepared for this pandemic, and there are a lot of reasons that went into that. I think we know already that the disbanding of this pandemic office at the National Security Council in the White House was a profound mistake, and that would have been one of the tripwires. But when it became publicly known, which was as early as late December, and then reports started coming in January of this new respiratory virus in China, we lost precious weeks in getting the testing ramped up. There were flaws in the original testing. We didn't have enough protective gear. We don't have enough ventilators. So we were ill prepared before this crisis hit. When it did hit, the administration moved very slowly. The president, even into March, was downplaying the significance of this and comparing it to the ordinary flu and talking about people being back in church by Easter. And so, there's, I think, a long list, but it's important that this commission do more than focus on the president's actions or failure to act, but look broadly at how the country was prepared for this. We're reviewing, for example, as part of our oversight function, what the Intelligence Committee knew and what it was reporting early on. And I think we're going to have to examine, does the intelligence community need to give greater attention to health threats when it's traditionally focused more on hard targets, on terrorism? And I think that's just one small piece of it. But the commission ought to look at the overall whole of government response, its lack of preparedness, and how we can assure this doesn't happen in the country again.
Mitch McConnell said that he believes that the impeachment trial in the Senate slowed down the federal government's response to the pandemic. What's your response to that?
Yeah, the president said something similar, which, was an interesting acknowledgement that the administration has screwed up this response. And I think the facts are quite clear that the president's weeks-long, maybe months-long delay in taking this seriously has had catastrophic consequences that we're only now beginning to see the scope of. But they should stop making excuses. The president found plenty of time, even during the impeachment trial and its prefatory period, to play golf, to go on vacation at Mar-a-Lago, to do campaign rallies. He clearly wasn't distracted from doing the things that he loves to do. But the bigger problem is, even after the trial was over, the president continued for weeks and weeks to say, this is no problem. He's got it under control. He's got it contained, and that this isn't going to have a big impact on the country. Of course, he was ignoring the advice of the health experts, the epidemiologists, the CDC, his own people, and with catastrophic consequences.